You're listening to the 14th source for all geeky nerdy news and discussion, which means that you're listening to a podcast.
For all intents and purposes.
I am D. Bethel.
And I'm Andrew Asplin.
And we are your two overeducated, codependent nerd hosts, bringing you the things that we'd like to talk about, but filtered through inquisitive and critical lenses. In the episode for Friday, August 30th, 2024.
Okay. So we may have missed an episode. I take the blame.
No, I take the blame.
It was my birthday. No, it's my birthday, man. Not on the day the episode would have come out, but on the day we would have recorded it. And I was like, nah, woo, it's my birthday, pew, pew, pew. And you're like, oh, gosh, Andrew's on an adventure.
And in your defense, last week was also, again, I feel like I've been using it as an excuse for 2 weeks now, but like, in terms of the home construction and stuff, that last week was the busiest in terms of like moving stuff out of rooms, and right. I was just exhausted and sore, and just it was a busy week for both of us. You seemed like you had more fun than I did, though. So how does it feel being 28 years old?
It's good. It's good. I'm so excited when you catch up to me.
Which shall be soon, I think, yeah.
Or I'm sorry, about 2 weeks.
Yeah, about that. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And to celebrate, actually, I got us 2 tickets, Andrew.
To the gun show?
Shit, is that what you wanted? No, I got us tickets on the news cruise.
Oh, news cruise. I don't know.
Cue Law and Order.
Oh, no, it's the news cruise. A murder happened. Right? Like,
Law and Order news cruise.
Oh, no. This is the worst show ever. Anyway, go ahead.
Let's start at Star Trek. It was announced, I think, via Instagram. Actually, I found an article on therap.com because we've talked about sort of the state of Star Trek.
Right. We haven't talked about how apparently Paramount is ostensibly trying to sell themselves.
Well, that's not surprising considering their strange decisions over the last couple of years. But we're in a liminal state for Star Trek right now, with shows ending or coming to an end. And most importantly, new ideas, let's just say, I don't want to say shows because who knows how long it lasts, starting.
Right.
And it was announced that Star Trek: Starfleet Academy has started production. What do you know about Star Trek: Starfleet Academy? I'm a stickler for the colon.
I know, the colon. You love the colon.
The colon matters, Andrew.
So I don't know much, right? Like other than what they've said, which is it's a show they announced. I believe they've said, or at least I think the premise is it takes place in the Discovery era. Because like I thought the premise was it is the, hey, this is Starfleet Academy as it's being brought back as seen in Discovery season 4. I assume that's what the timing is. However, it does. One of the writers is Tawny Newsome.
Okay.
Who
Wait,
also,
wow, really?
Yeah, that was that weird thing where it's like, oh, she's working on it. Like, oh, she's a writer. Well, of course she is. She's a comedian, I guess.
That's cool.
Right? Like,
yeah.
They all double duty. But other than that, I've like even half of what I said there might be false. I don't know.
So I have some updated information for you, I guess.
Okay.
What's interesting to me, or what stood out to me, was the cast. I'm guessing some of these people have history with the show. Tig Notaro returns as a character named Jet Reno.
Oh, so that means absolutely it is during the Discovery era.
Yeah. Right. So there's a couple names that stood out to me. A regular character is going to be played by... Jesus Christ. It was just right there.
Sorry, I'm looking at the picture. You mean
Holly Hunter?
Bob Picardo?
Well, no, I was going to get there. Holly Hunter is playing a... here we go. Holly Hunter has been cast as the captain and chancellor of the Academy, which is kind of cool to see. I've always liked her, and she always is interesting roles. But yeah, the actor that is in the cast photo that surprised me the most is Bob Picardo. In the rap article that I'm reading, it says that he's playing the Doctor, which I guess makes sense.
He's a hologram. I don't know if you know that.
It's still a hologram, right? I was wondering if they would maybe go to like, oh, it's It's the
Flesh Man.
the Flesh Man, or the descendant of the Flesh Man that the Doctor was based on. But no, I mean, especially because like it's been a minute since Voyager.
Well, also it's a live action show, but given that he's playing a character that is a hologram, like it could very well be like he decided to age himself, right? Like so they could just have him play at age, right?
One interesting tidbit. I don't know why this is so surprising to me, but some actors were named as recurring characters during season 1. A British actress named Ginny Shear, but also Paul Giamatti. I don't know why it blew my mind a little bit. Like I kind of can't imagine him in a non-comedic drama, right? He's like he's in movies about wine, not Star Trek.
Well, I would say that seeing the article you sent me, they also mention Oded Fair and Mary Wiseman. Which kind of confirms it is the Discovery spinoff. Like this is the Starfleet Academy that's being revived. So like, because I think when they first announced it, what I saw was it was going to be like, oh hey, Starfleet Academy has been shut down for a while because of things in Discovery. Now this is like the first class, right? Which all makes sense. Right, like, okay, now seeing it all, yeah, it's like they can do the fun stuff, like have a good time, have Holly Hunter and Paul Giamatti. And again, I think it's supposed to be sort of funny, right?
The article I'm reading doesn't mention the tone at all, or sort of genre, for lack of a better word, that the show is going to take. But I know you've talked about it as if it's going to be kind of not like the Office of Star Trek kind of thing.
No, I think that's a different show they've talked about. But definitely, again, my understanding is Tawny Newsome was on the writing staff. And it was intended to be... It wasn't serious all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
it was a bit silly, a bit funny.
I mean, which makes sense considering one of the best Star Trek shows on TV right now is fucking The Lower Decks. But it's nice to see a future for Star Trek when for a minute there, especially with like Star Trek Prodigy and... the announcement of the end of Lower Decks, it kind of seemed a little bleak, and Discovery, of course, too, right? It's like, oh, okay, yeah. we got some stuff in the,
and it felt like everyone else was following the train, right? Like Strange New Worlds would have one more or whatever. Like, oh, okay. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Honestly, I watch all Star Trek. Most Star Trek.
I mean, all Star Trek, right? Like, no. At this point, you're watching all the Star Trek.
I still haven't seen most of Enterprise.
I said at this point. At this point, you're watching all the Star Trek that's coming out.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. Anyway, let's get back on the boat. We don't need to talk more about the...
Toot, toot. News cruise.
Toot, toot.
Toot, toot.
Taking a swift turn or a course change, there was some other big nerd news. This week was D&D Direct.
Okay.
Which is, I guess, when I say D&D Direct out loud, I don't think I've actually said it out loud until just now.
I think of Nintendo Direct and stuff like that.
I was to say, these motherfuckers think they're Nintendo.
I mean, WotC is big enough. But a little less focused. Yeah.
What Hasbro, right?
Oh, yeah, indeed. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, dude, it's just they think they're doing Nintendo Direct. So they did this video. It's a 20-minute video that came out this
Why?
week.
What's going on in the world of D&D?
I don't know what I expected when they're like, oh, join us for D&D Direct. And I tuned in, watched the YouTube.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, okay, this is a 20-minute commercial. All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Which, again, that's what it is. I guess I was so off put. It's just them advertising the new not edition, the new revision, the new errata of D&D, what people are calling 5.24.
Okay, sure.
24 being 2024. Although it doesn't all come out until next year.
Naturally.
Right. The Player's Handbook, released at Gen Con, will be publicly available in September. The The Dungeon Master's Guide will be out in, I think, November, December. The Monster Manual will be out in February, I think. Because really what you have to realize is each book comes out in a different quarter. Because, you know, more important than anything, they have to make sure the number goes up.
Sure.
Which, I mean, like, once someone said that to me, like, because it's like, why are they releasing all the books of their new semi-edition in separate time? Like, oh, it's because
Quotas.
Different quarters.
Quotas.
Stock boys,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So yeah, but it's so the new-ish D&D is coming out. They announced a new anthology adventure book, which has 10 different adventures, each of them featuring a dungeon and a dragon. And they also talked about later in 2025 a new starter set in the Borderlands, which is the Keep on the Borderlands is an adventure that came out in basically like not the firstest D&D, but like one of the firstest.
Okay, so it's like it's an olive branch to old school D&D players.
As if they haven't fucking jerked that off enough. Yes. And they talked about they're going to do 2 books at the end of 2025. A player's book in a like a GM book.
Okay.
For the Forgotten Realms, a setting that clearly hasn't gotten enough attention.
Nope, not at all. So you're excited, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's happening. And but they also talked about their new virtual tabletop.
Oh, okay.
Project Sigil. I'm sorry, Sigil. In joke there. Because the name is based off of the Planescape setting. The city in Planescape, when that setting was announced back in the 90s, the main city was called Sigil with a hard G.
Oh, interesting.
However, no one actually read that part in the book, and so everyone called it Sigil, to the point where Planescape Torment, the video game, called it Sigil.
Oh, no.
So here we are now, 30 years later, and now their cool virtual tabletop, which will bring the multiverse of horseshit together, is Project Sigil.
It's a regional thing. If you're from this part of town, you say Sigil. If you're from this part of town, you say Sigil.
Right. I will say, I get that they want to monetize this game. And that's you buy like figures, toys, they call them, not minis.
Okay.
Toys.
They call them toys?
They call them toys in the video. Which again, I don't know if you know who owns them. Hasbro. But honestly, like, it is like, oh, that's a cool. There are certain aspects to it that are cool. And they even said, like, look, this is really, at the end of the day, it's not about D&D. It's about role-playing games. Mm-hmm. So cool, right? Like, you could play your other role-playing game in the D&D virtual tabletop. So it's one of these things where watching the D&D Direct, again, 20 minutes of ad copy, it is like, oh, there's some like cool and then some like, ooh, right? Yeah. A mix of cringe and, oh, that seems fun. And don't be wrong, there are probably a lot of people that watch that video and like, yeah, dude, D&D, roar! Like, I also know there are a lot of people that watched it and said, oof. If nothing else, I will say, as much as I don't like D&D now, as a player who plays every other week, I like that it's still, like, it has legs, right? Like, it is so popular that, like, popular people play this game. Like, people cooler than me are like, I love D&D. I mean,
Name one person cooler than you, Andrew.
Everybody. The one thing I want to say, this is a bit of a side trek.
Okay.
But there was a YouTube video of, and I don't know whose show it was, if it was John Barenthal or Deborah Ann Woll, both people that were in
Martflix.
Daredevil,
yeah.
Martflix. John Barenthal was the Punisher, and Frank Castle, and Deborah Ann Woll was Karen, like the lady, like that.
Yeah, I mean,
it was like kind of like,
I hate to say it, but yeah, like the lady of the Daredevil show.
The lady,
that's not Elektra.
But Deborah Ann Woll she's a huge D&D nerd.
Yeah.
Right, so there's this YouTube clip that went around of them talking, and she's like, no, D&D is so great, I love it. And of course, John Barenthal, apparently, shockingly, is real jock bro. It's like, oh, what? Like I've never done this. What's it about? And she's like, oh, it's play right now. And she goes through the experience, and like, oh, you're a bloody boy or whatever. Like doing the D&D intro thing for the dude that plays Punisher.
Right.
And I will say, if nothing else, that's the world we live in, where the dude that plays Punisher is getting introed to D&D on a YouTube show, and he's like, oh, it's pretty fucking good. And I'm like, well, thinking back to when I was a kid, when like D&D is what you did in the closet because you get beat up if you whatever.
Tom
like,
Hanks is filming cautionary tales against it.
Right, like the fact there's Jesus, I forgot about that. Yeah, there's literally like cautionary tales about playing D&D, and here we are, these cool ass actors just selling it on their show.
Right.
Yeah, that's like if nothing else, I'm excited about that. That's cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
Even if I don't like the game now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, good thing is that we're pulling away from port.
Oh, good.
And we're actually going to go to video game island. What?
Oh, the blue hole.
Yes. Coincidentally, the blue hole here, referencing
that's
Dave
a
Diver.
fishing term.
And
or,
but it speaks to, I think, a larger thing. At least two announcements that are really interesting because it's about like crossovers, right?
Right.
So let's start with, since you mentioned the blue hole, let's talk about Dave the Diver and its DLC announcement.
Right. So they announced, like they've actually done previously, they're going to do another collab with another game company. And so Dave the Diver will now have a Balatro thing.
Yep.
And let's see, Potion Factory and
Craft?
some shit,
Yeah.
or Potion Crafter.
And a collaboration with an American musician named, I don't even know how to say it, but Mxmtoon.
Right. It's just this weird thing where it's like, hey, this game about running a sushi shop and fishing now has
Needs more disparate ties to other things.
Right, like, and it's actually weird enough because they did the Dredge
that's
tie-in
right, yeah.
a year ago, and it is this thing where it's like, God, this is kind of weird, but also like that's cool. Like I like that these companies that are not Ubisoft are doing these like handshake things,
Yeah.
but also it's not just Dave the Diver, right? Like the fact that when they announced like, hey, Dave the Diver and Balatro are doing a thing, I saw it on some of my chats and stuff,
Right.
and people are like, well, wait, is it Dave the Diver or Balatro?
Right.
It's like, but what? Both.
Yeah. So yeah, like the other kind of interesting crossover announcement is that Balatro is releasing a free DLC that is just kind of like what you just talked about with Dave the Diver. It's just
Right,
a
the
bunch
same
of
thing.
collabs. Where basically it's just aesthetic upgrades after doing some research to some of the cards in the game, but they are announcing sort of aesthetic crossovers with the Witcher,
The Witcher.
Among Us, Dave the Diver, and Vampire Survivors. Really cool to see, especially considering those are all indie games to an extent. Well, maybe not. Well, yeah, I guess Witcher technically still is.
indie-ish.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, The Witcher.
it's big, but so is Among Us, right? But yeah, it's just cool, and that's a free update that I think dropped on the 27th. Yes, the 27th. Yeah, it's just cool to see this sort of cross-pollination, even if it's just aesthetically changing sort of things. It still feels like it's a community.
Right.
It's something that can be easily lost in the world of like Discord servers and Facebook groups and and Twitter. God, the cesspool of Twitter.
And I want to say, like, part of me loves it. Like, oh, it's cool. Like you're all indie-ish, and you're all working together to do a thing. And then I see Dead by Daylight.
What's their new crossover?
I mean, what isn't their crossover?
Well, that's true.
Right?
It's like Fortnite,
they did D&D. They did D&D recently with Vecna being a killer. They announced now Castlevania. So you can have Strahd, which again I kind of like.
Wait, what?
But then part of me starts to realize
Say Castlevania?
I like.
And
Castlevania.
and Strahd?
It's not Strahd. I'm sorry.
Dracula?
I'm sorry.
Wait,
did I mistake one fucking 2-bit vampire for another?
Well, like, is that
yes.
No, not 2-bit. Like Dracula is the fucking vampire.
I mean, he's the original. I know.
You're like, no, what's his name? Strahd? Jesus,
Strahd
you're
von
such a
Zarovich.
fucking nerd.
But look, goddamn, I'm sorry. Hey, everyone that's listening, I'm sorry. This was shameful.
What's his name? The big one, Strahd?
But Strahd.
Alucard?
What else? I think Trevor Belmont will be a survivor.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's also like, it is the thing where you're like, I'm sorry, what?
Right.
Right? And then you realize we live in the Fortnite era.
Yes.
Right, where it is all, and that kind of, for me, gives me like, not like I'm excited for all of it. At the same time, I'm like, oh, that's what this all is. This is just, they're all like, hey, what if we all, gave each other merchandising,
And it's not so much that we are overly
not merchandising.
Right. It's not so much that we're overly concerned with like continuity and shit like that, but like it just makes you. It's just there's a head scratching quality to it, right? Recently, there's announced that like they're adding X-Men content to Fortnite, and do you know who really needed a gun? Fucking Cyclops, Jubilee, and Magneto. Sure, okay.
Well, it's like, but the fact that was it Star Wars Episode 9, the burp of burps,
Rise of Skywalker, I believe.
Right, like the fact that the big thing that literally gets referenced in the opening crawl, which was recorded but not featured in the movie, is only heard in Fortnite.
That's pretty great, actually. I'm into that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad you are. I'm just like, oof.
Makes me want to watch Rise of Skywalker again. My favorite Star Wars movie.
Star Rider.
I couldn't even say it. Yeah.
But I mean, it's a weird thing, right? Like yeah, I'm into it a little bit, and then part of me is like, ooh, do I feel bad about this? Like, is this where we're all like? I mean, people joke about the D&D Direct. I saw a lot of people say like, oh, look, you'll finally have, Optimus Prime fighting fucking, Vecna. And you're
Finally.
Like, and again, I saw that. I think it was posted as a joke, but they said during D&D Direct that they want to do more, licensing and cross-platform. I mean, Magic the Gathering right now is just literally jerking that off, right? Like, yeah, man, you have the Assassin's Creed Magic cards, the Fallout, and I say that as someone who bought the Fallout Magic cards, or the Doctor Who Magic cards. Hasbro wants to do the licensing, and that's a weird place where. I mean, I think I like it, except also I don't.
The thing I wonder is this cross-pollination, is this crossover stuff, is it actually working? Are people who see Doctor Who or whatever in Fortnite or Castlevania characters in, oh god, what was the name? Dead by Daylight?
Dead by Daylight.
Are they now? How? This is the question we posed to like the MCU. Like, how many people are watching these movies and going to buy the comics? How many people are playing Dead by Daylight and going like, I should play a Castlevania game to see what this is all about? Because Trevor really hates this Strahd character.
Right. Well, and it's one of those things where I see that like the recurring fans like, oh, it's a new character, that's cool, like, or if you're playing Dead by Daylight a lot, like, oh, it's a new character, yeah, that's cool, but like, yeah, who shows up for the game? Like, oh, damn, Trevor Belmont, yeah, I'll play that.
Well, that's the thing, it's old people, but
that's me. Is it me?
And I'm not quite old yet. Maybe in a couple weeks.
Okay, just me.
It's to get people attracted to the new game. I doubt there's really a lot of backwards traffic of going to check out. I doubt many people who go check out, the X-Men comics because they played Cyclops in Fortnite. It's really more of like, I think
Are you sure?
It seems to be more like, oh, this is clearly a character from something, and they're going to add more characters from something else next week. Well, the purpose is clear: to make money. Everybody makes money in the long run. But as far as keeping brands alive, keeping media alive, in terms of the different mediums that are being used. It'd be cool to see a little bit more like, hey, do you like this character? You like this Trevor Belmont character?
Right.
You should check out these games. But that's not something that anybody's doing across the different crossover mediums, like the MCU movies. They're not really pointing people to specific comics or stories. It's just like, isn't this cool? And you're kind of left on your own.
Right. Actually, you're right. It's the thing. Oh, I love that. I recognize that. I'll pay money for that. And I realize that's probably more than anything what it is. Right.
It's a stop sign more than it is a
I'm
funnel.
the problem.
No. I'm really glad they are catering to old people like you and young people like me, who have disposable income and want to do this weird stuff.
Want to play this weird game where suddenly I look like some character from a game I played 30 years ago.
I'm really excited to play Balatro and have the sushi chef from Dave the Diver on my as my king on my card set. So we're good to go. We're pulling out a port, Andrew. Toot toot.
Oh.
Video games are great, but let's go back to TV real quick, probably to wrap up the episode. We talked about how Star Trek Starfleet Academy is entering production. Another show, in fact, another spinoff is entering production, or at least was announced in the last week or two, but not Star Trek. In this case, it's another favorite of the show, Doctor Who.
Oh, you mean Class?
No.
Oh, you mean Torchwood?
Well, kinda.
Sarah Jane Adventures.
Nope, not quite. Just as catchy as all those titles, this show is a miniseries titled "The War Between the Land and the Sea."
That's a subtitle. That's a subtitle.
No, it's not.
That's not a real title.
It's a bad title.
Okay, are you sure it's not Unit, The War Between the Land and the Sea?
It should be.
Because at least that would, I don't know, feel like...
Or Torchwood : because it's got some of the cast from that show.
Torchwood :
Oh, yep. Hey, I'm all about the colons. You know me. I think what's most interesting, rather than what it's about, it seems to be kind of a, as you said, like a unit-focused spin-off. Unit being sort of the human-based, Earth-based alien interaction military group.
You mean the Unified Intelligence... the Unified Intelligence Task Force.
Indeed.
Previously, the United Nations Intelligence Task Force, until the UN said, "Please stop calling it."
Sorry, Doctor Who. Could you please not mention us in your children's program? It's a cool idea, but I think the most interesting thing is that since Russell T Davies has come back to the show, he has been vocal again about like we want to, and in a lot of the promotional materials they've used the term Whoniverse, which is dumb. But he's talking about spin-offs and multiple shows that are all kind of connected. And this is kind of the first announced and now into production example of that. What's it called again? The War Between the Land and the Sea. It's a mini-series, though, and it doesn't seem to be like a full show. It may be like an ongoing show. But we'll see how it goes, obviously. But I think the most notable aspect is that this is the new Who making its first step into becoming a bigger brand,
right.
Or a modern brand, I should say.
Well, I think you said that it does feature, I think, someone, not a main character, but like a auxiliary character from Torchwood.
Right.
It features characters from Doctor Who, basically Unit, people who are in Unit. It is like, okay. And, this is like, honestly, like I could believe this would be fun, right? This could be a cool show. They've done this kind of thing before, right?
Right.
Torchwood was cool at times. Sarah Jane was cool at times.
I guess the other notable thing is that this is also being built partially with Disney Plus money.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I feel like we're coming off skeptical, which we are, but like, I don't think it'll be bad. It's written by, or at least co-written by Russell T Davies, so he's in the captain's chair since we're on a boat, and co-written by Pete McTeague, who
Oh
has
wait, you
written
mean the guy that writes all of the promotional videos for new seasons of Doctor Who?
right, things like Tales from the TARDIS for this last year, which were wonderful, but he also he wrote a couple of episodes during the Jodie Whittaker years.
Okay. So for those who don't know, every time they release a new Blu-ray collection, they often have a promotional video which has like a 5 to 10 minute clip of like it feels like an episode often.
Right,
And a bunch of them are written by that guy.
Right, which came to a head this last year with the memory TARDIS and the Tales from the TARDIS, where they brought back.
Well, that's right. Like it's like,
all the old
you're writing all
Doctors
these.
and-
Well, because the memory TARDIS was they built a set for
the finale,
the finale, and they're like, "Oh, dude, we should do this." So the memory TARDIS in these episodes are just they brought the old actors back to talk about the episode you're about to watch,
Right.
and they then bookended it around an episode. It's such a weird thing, but what it really tells me is that this is a guy that knows the show
right.
pretty well, right? Like he's actually written some pretty banger shit.
Yes, he has. Yeah, I mean, just from my own experience, like the Tales.
How
from the TARDIS
often did you cry? No, like
every time.
every time.
When like was Seventh Doctor and Ace, like, and the thing that really hits me is like it. Not only does it feel like the actors are stepping back into their roles seamlessly, it sounds like them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in.
So like, if that's the person writing this show, which is like a spinoff in the world, yeah, like I'm into it, even if the title sucks.
It does, but it's a good time to do it because probably now more people now than ever have seen Doctor Who with this new season being on Disney Plus, and it's like, okay, it's going to contain characters that we've seen from this most recent season, and it's nice that there's not like a bunch of seasons you necessarily have to watch. Basically, they're treating the most recent season as season 1. Mm-hmm. And like, okay, you want to follow these characters, here's what they're doing, right? It's smart. It's not a bad idea. It's just a bad title.
It's a bad title.
Andrew, you got to finish your Mai Tai because we are coming back to our home port. We are all done, and you're driving. That's unfortunate.
Well, that's good since I don't have a car.
Oh no. Well,
so I guess we're walking, sir.
And so I guess we should get started. It was a fun news cruise at the very least.
It was. There's a lot of news coming out. I guess this is the time of year for it.
But the memories that were made along the way is what matters. So if you, dear listeners, have any thoughts about the topics we discussed this week, feel free to leave your thoughts as comments on the page of this episode at forallintents.net.
You can also post your comments or engage in conversations with other listeners on our Facebook page.
You can find us on other social media as well, specifically places that Andrew and I frequent, which means you can find Andrew on Mastodon at ProfoundDark at dice.camp. And you can find me on Instagram at dbethelcomics.
While you're at our website, forallintents.net, you can also take a look at our YouTube page, which you can find by clicking on the link in the corner that says YouTube. There you'll find our YouTube page, where we simulcast the show in YouTube. If you do listen to the show on YouTube, please like and subscribe, or as the kids like to say, ring that bell. Actually, those are different things, I think, but Indeed. Whatever.
We use 2 tracks of music for our show. One is called Disco Medusi, the other is called District 4. They're both written and performed by Kevin MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod, immortal swordsman, graph paper enthusiast, and musician extraordinaire.
You can find his music and more at incompetech.filmmusic.io, and that's all licensed under the Creative Commons 4.0 Attribution License.
If you like the show and like to help us out, the best way to do so would be to subscribe to the show using whichever podcasting service you happen to use. What would help us out even more would be to subscribe to the show. What would help us out even more would be to leave some sort of review. Whether a text review or using their proprietary metric will spread the word to new potential listeners through the magic of algorithm. I think it's time for a check-in, Andrew. you have talked about recently that you started watching.
Oh my God! No! I know what it is. Gravity Falls.
Gravity
Falls.
Is it still good?
Oh my gosh! I feel bad. So,
Feel bad.
You asked this question because you know the answer.
I do. This is punishment.
Literally before we sat down to record this episode, I watched a sort of important episode of the show that kind of ends on a cliffhanger, and then I was like, I gotta go do a podcast. And let's be honest, when I'm done recording, I'm gonna go, hey Dan, real nice to talk to you. Boop, go watch the second episode. Honestly,
you're going to have a fun time with that episode.
And I will, again, kind of follow on with my previous comment. I think I said on the show, it's a cool show. It's a great show. But there's something weird about having seen, the end of it and kind of knowing where shit's going. And as you watch it being like, oh.
Yeah.
And I don't remember all of it, but, I've seen enough of the finale to be like, yeah, I know stuff kind of like the big villain.
I don't think it's a bad way to watch it. Actually, I think it actually
right.
Keeps
I think you said that before.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm not upset. I don't feel spoiled. If anything, especially given the way that the Alex Hirsch I think does the show. I will say, I guess spoiler for people who haven't seen it. The idea that I knew who the villain was, the big villain. And to see him appear in every episode in the opening credits, in a flash sequence, in a one frame,
right.
And then when he finally shows up at the end of season 1, I'm like, and again, they don't really play him as this guy's the worst ever. It's just
right.
oh, who's this character? And I'm like, oh shit, it is I've just been nothing but loving it.
What's interesting is that it's kind of fulfilling the promise that people say George Lucas had started. No, it really comes across that this is planned. There might be some wiggle room and some improv here in terms of structure and when things are revealed. But Alex Hirsch had some sort of plan. I'm not calling him a genius or anything like that, but he had a vision for where this could go. It wasn't just a brother and sister experiencing cryptids in a rural sort of mystery shack. He had this weird story he wanted to tell. I think it's more a matter of how much will Disney let me get away with?
Right.
Right. So yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Andrew. So you're in season 2? It's
2,
3?
about the bid.
Yeah. Oh, there's only 2 seasons, right? Yeah.
Right. So
yeah,
I'm going to be done by the next time we talk about it.
You'll be caught up with yourself. That sounds naughty.
What?
So until you catch up with yourself, dear listeners, I'm D. Bethel.
And I'm Andrew Asplund.
And for all intents and purposes,
that was a podcast.
Andrew, what's the first port you want to stop at?
Oh shit! You gave me the prompt. I thought you had a plan. I thought you had already planned the trip.
Well,
cruise director, what? But you know what?
Fair enough. Let's start at.
We haven't talked about how apparently Paramount.
I
don't see Giovanni in your contacts. Should I look for businesses with...
Oh, Jesus Christ, Siri.
Sorry, my watch.
What sound do boats make? I don't know. You were in the Navy. Tell me what sound.
That's a noise.
The sound
right.
of boats.
It's a horn. Yeah. What sound do boats make? Boits make.
Boits. Boimler.
So now